Photographing cats with a portable studio. So today I set up our portable studio because I wanted to photograph Knox for an upcoming video. So this is going to be his thumbnail. And I thought, this is a perfect opportunity for me to create a video for you that might help you photograph your own cat. Now, the portable studios are great because they're just that. They're a portable studio. And more importantly, the first thing I would say when you're contemplating photograph your cat is location and control. So the portable studio is basically a box. And what do cats love? Boxes. So much so, as I was putting this up, I actually had one of our cats jump inside before I could even put it together. She was having the time of her life. Now, she's not the subject today, so that wasn't very helpful. I got this portable studio on Amazon, and this happens to be the Samtitian, I'm probably saying it wrong, 24 by 24 cube. They have various sizes with different accessories. This has two light strips. They are 5500 Kelvin, and they are dimmable. Here we have the dial to raise and lower the lights. For this particular setup, I'm going to have it on full power because I want to make sure that as I'm photographing a black cat with a black background, I want as much light as possible so I can keep my parameters in a good range so I don't have as much grain or noise in the case of digital. What that is the little specks that you might see in the shadow areas that aren't very attractive. Making sure that I have my settings and the right parameters, I can avoid that. Speaking of specs and parameters, let's talk a little bit about that. And maybe I'm getting ahead of myself. Why am I talking so much about photography? Well, before I became a YouTube creator, I was a professional photographer. I actually went to school and earned my master's degree at Rochester Institute of Technology in photography. So for this particular setup, the things that I want to take into consideration is, like I said already, my location and my control, which I have created by using this box portable studio setup. Next up, my lighting is already set based on what I'm using here for my setup, and they're strip lights. The exterior of the cube is a matte black material. The interior of the cube is this reflective silver material, and that's really going to help bounce the light inside that cube to focus the light on your subject. This is actually ideal for doing product shots, and that's what it's actually made for, but it works really well for photographing cats because, again, it's a box. It also comes with these different PVC backgrounds. This particular unit comes with 6 different colors of backgrounds. Today I'm going to use the black one, but it also has white, blue, green, red, and yellow. All right, so let's talk a little bit about our camera and our lens selection. Today I'm shooting with a Sony A7C Mark II, as Brian likes to call it, his hipster camera. It's just a fun camera. It's small and compact, and it's lightweight, which is really going to help me maneuver around and not have to worry about the gear getting in the way. My approach to photography is 100% on the subject, and the gear and all the stuff that I'm using is just tools in order to capture that subject. The number one feature that I'm excited about this is that it has animal eye focusing. So I can autofocus and it will recognize my animal, Knox, and focus on his eyes. Now, if I had it just on a person, eye focus, they really don't recognize animals very well. We've actually noticed this before the animal eye autofocus was introduced. And so this camera has the animal eye autofocus, and that's really going to help me in this scenario. Next up is my lens selection. There were some things that I knew ahead that I wanted to prioritize based on this particular situation. I am going to be relatively close to my subject, so I needed to make sure that my lens was going to be able to focus in that short amount of distance. Again, as I've already mentioned, I'm using autofocus, so the autofocus distance, minimum distance for this particular lens is 11 inches. So I know I'm not going to get closer than 11 inches unless Knox decides to get up close and personal. The lens that I'm shooting with is the Sony 40mm. 2.5. It's a really fun kind of retro-y lens because the aperture dial is on the lens itself. You don't control it with the camera. But I'm not shooting it at 2.5. I'm shooting at f4 because I want to make sure that my friendly feline is in focus. The smaller the number, the shorter the depth of field. And by that, lots of times you want a short depth of field if you want the background to go all nice and blurry. You've probably heard photographers talking about bokeh. That's when the background kind of disintegrates into these bubbles of light. That's not my issue here. My issue here is I have a live moving target, and so I want to make sure when I push that button, he's in focus. So giving me a larger number is going to help minimize the blurry pictures, hopefully. But I don't want to go too large with that number because everything is a scale here when you're dealing with photography. And again, I think I mentioned briefly already that I don't want grain or those dots to appear, noise in the digital world. I'm showing my age. You can tell I started with film, can't you? But I don't want that noise to show up in the shadows. I'm photographing a black cat, so there's going to be shadows. So I'm going to be controlling that with my ISO, or ISO, as people like to say now. So I'm shooting at a 200 ISO for this particular shot. And let's get to work. Knox is in the window right now. Let's see if we can get him attracted to this box. I'm surprised he's not in there yet. Here's Knox. He's so handsome. Let's see what Knox does in the box. He loves boxes. There you go. Are you a good boy? Can you sit? Knoxes. Knoxes. What? Oh, you're so handsome. Look at you. Oh. Are you having fun in the box? Knoxes, are you having fun? Is it comfy? It looks comfy. Can you get more in the middle? Come here. In the middle. After seeing some of these pictures, you may recognize this set. Just imagine a white background in some of my previous videos, particularly glamour cats and also cats on Catnip, the studio edition, because that's where they were playing and hanging out. If you have any questions about photographing your cats and might want to see more tips on how to do so in a different environment rather than a portable studio environment, let me know in the comments below and I'll make that happen. Thank you so much for watching Kitty Studying.